The old iron gates of Wandsworth High loomed before them, rusty and unwelcoming. Beyond the gates the school building stood shrouded in shadow. A cold wind howled. It whipped through the skeletal trees, their branches scraping against the school walls like grasping claws. "Are you sure about this?" Ben asked, his voice barely a whisper. He clutched his flashlight tighter, his knuckles white in the moonlight. The others huddled closer, each trying to appear braver than they felt. There was Emily, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. Michael trying to mask his nerves with a forced smirk. And then there was Sarah. Sarah, the fearless leader of their little group, simply raised an eyebrow at Ben's question. "We're here, aren't we?" she countered, her voice firm despite the tremor that ran through her. Truth be told, even Sarah felt a shiver of unease. Wandsworth High had been closed for decades, its halls silent except for the whispered rumors of hauntings and horrors that clung to it like cobwebs. Tonight was Dare Night, the night they would finally uncover the truth behind the whispered legends of Wandsworth High. They slipped through a gap in the gates, the rusty metal groaning like a death rattle. The air grew colder, the silence heavier. Every rustle of leaves, every creak of the old building sent shivers down their spines. They crept through the overgrown courtyard, their flashlight beams cutting through the darkness like fragile swords. "Did you hear that?" Emily whispered, her voice trembling. They all stopped, holding their breath. A low moan seemed to echo through the courtyard, followed by the distinct sound of chains dragging across concrete. Ben swallowed hard, his eyes darting around nervously. "Maybe we should just go," he suggested, his voice barely audible. But Sarah was undeterred. She raised her hand, silencing him. "We're here for a reason," she said, her voice low but steady. "We're going to find out what happened here." A gust of wind slammed a shutter against a window, the bang echoing through the courtyard like a gunshot. Emily jumped, clutching Michael's arm. He patted her hand reassuringly, though his own face was pale. They pressed on, deeper into the heart of the abandoned school. The hallway stretched before them, dark and menacing. Cobwebs hung from every corner and dust lay thick on the floor. The air was heavy, thick with the scent of decay and something else, something cold and unsettling. They moved cautiously, their flashlight beams dancing across the peeling paint and faded photographs on the walls. Sarah ran her hand along the wall as they walked, her fingers tracing the outlines of faded murals and chipped plaster. She could almost hear the echoes of laughter and chatter, the squeak of sneakers on linoleum floors, the clatter of lockers slamming shut. She could almost see the students bustling through the halls, their faces bright with youth and vitality. But it was just her imagination. They reached a door, its paint peeling to reveal rotted wood. The nameplate was barely visible. Headmaster's office. Sarah felt a strange pull towards it, an unexplainable urge to uncover its secrets. She pushed the door open, the hinges groaning in protest. Inside, the headmaster's office was in a state of disarray. Books were scattered across the floor, papers spilled from drawers, and a broken chair lay on its side. It was as if someone had been interrupted in their work and never returned. Sarah noticed a dusty old journal lying open on the desk. She picked it up, blowing off the dust. The journal's pages were filled with frantic scribbles, the ink faded but the desperation in the headmaster's words still palpable. He wrote of strange occurrences, of students behaving oddly, of whispers and shadows that haunted the halls. He mentioned a secret lab, hidden deep within the school, where a forbidden experiment had gone terribly wrong. Following the headmaster's cryptic clues, they navigated the labyrinthine corridors, until they reached a heavy metal door concealed behind a dusty tapestry. The air here was thick with a cloying, chemical odor. Sarah's hand trembled as she reached for the doorknob. It was ice cold. She took a deep breath and pushed the door open. The lab was dimly lit, illuminated by flickering fluorescent lights. Dust-covered beakers and test tubes lined the shelves, and strange, unsettling diagrams were scrawled across a chalkboard. In the center of the room, a table held a collection of objects, a tattered notebook, a silver locket, and a shattered mirror. As Sarah stepped closer, the air grew heavy, charged with a strange energy. The hair on the back of her neck stood on end. Suddenly the lights flickered violently, plunging the room into darkness. A collective gasp escaped the group. Then, just as suddenly, the lights flickered back on. But something was different. Standing in the middle of the room, their forms shimmering and translucent, were three figures. Their eyes, hollow and filled with an unearthly light, were fixed on the terrified teenagers. The ghostly apparitions moved towards them, their spectral hands outstretched, their voices echoing with a chilling whisper,